Hello everyone, welcome to or back to my channel. My name is Mindy and today we're reacting to episode 7 of the third season of Heartstopper. Last episode was a lot about body image issues and how people handle those issues. We got to see Nick struggling with his own image because Charlie had a crush on that historian they went to go see, and then we got Charlie struggling to know that other people see him as attractive, especially Nick, because him and Nick want to take things to the next level, but he doesn't understand how Nick could find him attractive. We got to see Tori meeting Michael and their friendship. That happened off screen, so we got to meet Michael this last episode. And then we got to see Elle, and she was invited to an interview that looked like it was going to be really promising and boost her career, but it turned out the interviewer had alternative motives and really had Elle show up as the Charon's perspective on the discourse going through society regarding trans rights. And I'm wondering if this episode will deal with the fallout of that interview, or if it's gonna take a while for the others to find out just how brutal that was on Elle. So let's jump into it. I don't remember Tara mentioning ballet before. It's not surprising that she would be in ballet with how much pressure her family puts on her. Okay, so this song suits Charlie and Nick's scenes. It suits them. I'm not understanding why they have this montage of Tara along with it. It's really confusing. Like, I adore Tara. I love seeing Tara, but the vibes don't match. These boys have no chill. Like, we've known that for a while, but it is so obvious here. They do. Well, cat cuddles too, but dog cuddles definitely solve everything. And I love their platonic friendship. They're always so great together.
Charlie's done a lot better these days.
And how's Nick doing these days?
Fine. Yeah, I'm all good. Haven't really got much going on.
She knows he's full of bullshit. Nick doesn't take care of himself. He's so busy taking care of other people's, he does not take care of himself.
Just need to remember to look after yourself too. Something you've done that's really beneficial.
She's amazing. Tara's amazing, and the way she looks out for her friends, and she should really take her own advice, because we saw her first panic attack last episode because she isn't setting boundaries with her family, which is, it's hard when you're a kid, and she's a kid, to set boundaries with your family, and it's causing her massive amounts of anxiety.
Do anything to calm down. It's a good thing we're in sex ed right now. I mean, maybe you'll get some good advice.
You're not gonna get good advice from a high school sex ed class. Definitely not.
If she like shuts up about it, and it's not exactly rocket science, is it? I mean, how bad can it really be?
Horrible advice. Horrible advice.
She was just feeling it all night. Like, you could tell she wanted.
I was so excited to not see him in the first 3 episodes, and then he showed up in, I think, episode 5, and I was so mad. Why do guys do this? Why do they exaggerate like that? Because we know it's exaggerating. We know Harry's personality. He's not telling the truth.
Today's world. I just don't think that losing virginity is that big of a deal. Like, it's probably going to be bad anyway. It's a big deal because it's the first time you're having sex.
Most people's first times are going to be incredibly awkward because neither of them know what they're doing, and there shouldn't be this much pressure on it.
Like, that is a big deal. I know the concept of virginity is bullshit, but like...
Yes, Nick. Oh my god, Nick.
Calm down.
I don't blame you for being nervous. That's normal.
Easy for you to say. You were so confident.
I wasn't, Charlie. I just enjoy making it sound like the most cinematic night of my life. We were in some random bedroom at a house party. We had no idea what we were doing. And even after that, we still had a lot to learn about each other. And what feels good. Maybe we get things wrong. But, it's not some perfect, effortless thing. But it's me and Al. We love each other. And if it's awkward, we can just laugh about it.
That's what I'm saying. They were awkward. They were laughing, but they know each other and they trust each other, and that's what made it worth it, because even though they still have a lot to learn about each other's bodies, they trust each other to not push each other where they're not comfortable. And that's the most important thing. No matter how awkward it is and how confusing it is, as long as you trust your partner, you're good.
Is it?
It was the best advice Tao's given. I have to give him props for that.
How was Elle's interview? She didn't really mention it in the group chat.
Oh, yeah, it was, I think they decided not to air it, actually.
That's what I was wondering about. They have not aired Elle's interview, which it didn't work out. She did not answer their questions. Kudos to her. But she also hasn't told her friends how it went.
No, you shouldn't.
Doesn't matter. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Elle shouldn't have to anticipate ulterior motives every time she gets an interview. People should be interested in her because she's an artist, not because she is a trans woman who happens to be an artist. She is an artist who happens to be a trans woman. And it's really hard for her to see that right now, because that's not how she was treated. Fuck off, David. This honesty is what matters. This ability to discuss things and acknowledge that, hey, I'm nervous, I don't know what I'm doing. Can we be honest with each other about how we're feeling? It's great. It's perfect. So those were college applications, it looks like, and Nick is a year older than Charlie. I think last episode he was very hesitant to discuss what he wants to do because he's scared of leaving Charlie behind. And no one should choose their school based on who their partner is and where they are, because eventually they will regret it and they will start resenting that partner.
She loves you. Yeah. That's it, I know. To watch a movie, though? What about Moonrise Kingdom? Hmm? Do you want to talk about it?
I have said it so many times. I love Elle and Tao together. Tao was a character that took me a long time to like after season 1, but him and her together have always been amazing because they bring out the best in each other. As frustrating as Tao can be, he is always there for Elle. And their relationship is so heartfelt, and even before they were dating, they were just so good to get together.
I'm gonna look after myself and do what I want.
That includes doing me.
walked into that one. Oh my, I was not expecting it. Um, I love Darcy, and I love that Darcy has always said exactly what they think, but I was not expecting that, and I don't expect that kind of language, those kind of jokes from Heartstopper, because it started when Charlie was 14. So it's a little awkward for me.
I know it's year 11's last day before study hall. Guess what? That's still one more day.
I am always happy to see Mr. Farouk and Mr. J. I don't know why. They just, them on screen always makes me happy.
You're a strong person, and I think you could do a lot of good for the kids at this school. Just something.
Okay, so I've mentioned it a couple times. I have not read past Charlie going to seek help in the webcomics. However, Solitaire takes place after that. It covers the time skip that we had. The Solitaire storyline takes place during that time skip, and it actually covers the relapse that Charlie mentioned in the last episode. You see it from Tori's point of view, not Charlie's. And I don't think Charlie is head boy in that series. I don't think Charlie is head boy during Solitaire. However, he is head boy during Radio Silence, which is, we don't have the character that Radio Silence is about in this series. He is part of the Heartstopper universe. His name is Alad Last. He's amazing. He's Demi. But he is not in this show. Obviously, his character was replaced by Isaac. And I love Isaac, but I do wish we also had Alad Last. So I wasn't sure if this would be in this season or not. I'm glad it is.
Charlie, there are a lot of younger students who find it inspiring to see you as head boy.
I know I said I love seeing Mr. Farouk and Mr. J on screen. I was not expecting to see a young Farouk, because we found out in Paris he didn't come out until late in life, and he missed out on being able to explore his sexuality in high school, and seeing someone like Charlie would have given him that confidence, and I love this edition.
You know you've been really down since that interview.
It's not like this radio woman was a raging bigot or anything. She probably thinks of herself as an ally.
She was a bigot. I don't care if you call yourself an ally. If you bring a trans person to an interview like that to get their to get the trans perspective on transphobic rhetoric, it's bigotry. It is treating them like they're not people. You should be able to call out transphobic rhetoric without needing trans people to tell you it's transphobic. I don't know why that's so hard for some people.
You just can't properly understand.
That line is so important because it's so true. As much as someone is an ally, as much as someone cares about their friends who are minorities, they cannot put themselves in the shoes of that person. They can sympathize and they can feel bad for them and they can want to protect them, but they will never truly know how it feels. And one of my favorite sayings is, I know that I will never know. Because when you start saying, I understand how you feel, I know you're hurt, you fall into the line of thinking that you can speak for someone else, and you can't.
You trying to peek? No. It's allowed.
Just tell him yes, Nick. He could use that confidence boost. Just to be honest, let him know you were.
Maybe one night you could stay around mine, just us. Do you think your parents will let you? I know my mum will be fine with it.
Absolutely not. His mom would never.
I'll ask.
She is over their bullshit.
Yeah, good luck getting Mum to agree to a boyfriend sleepover.
She will. I'll ask her when she's in a good mood.
No, she won't.
That point in her banning sleepovers. If you and Nick want to have sex, then you'll have sex. You don't need a sleepover to do that.
I love Michael so much. He is just as socially awkward in the books, and oh my, he's so much fun. He is such a fun character.
Very good advice, anyone doctor says.
My advice is to sneak out.
My advice is that a sleepover is unnecessary for the activity in question.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Good luck. I hope you do get to have your sex sleepover.
Thank you.
Michael, can you stop talking about my brother having sex? Please.
I'm sorry for pausing so much for this scene. It's so much fun. Is he going to create an interview of Elle from the video clips he has of her talking about her art? It's something he would do. I'm not sure how she would feel about it, but it's really sweet.
Meantime,
I don't care what Tara says, do not have sex at school. It is not an option. Not an option. Oh my Tara.
it was only once.
Thank God. I am so glad someone said it. Everything that Charlie's gone through in the past year, Nick has gone through with him, which means Nick has been traumatized just as much as Charlie in the past year in different ways. Also, yes, Tara, can we not normalize teenagers having sex?
Did you get the fuzz all the way in?
Yep, all three of them.
Why?
Sexy dancing.
That is such a romantic move. If your partner is okay with surprises, this is the sweetest thing you can do for them, just to let them know that you are thinking about them. If they are not okay with surprises and not okay with you showing up randomly, it's not a bad thing. It just means that is not their personality. Don't be offended and don't do it.
No, why not?
Okay. I know we haven't talked about it properly or anything. It's just a huge deal.
I am so happy they said it. I know in the last episode or the New Year's Eve episode, they said they weren't sure about their pronouns yet. They were just playing around and they took their time. It's been a few months and I am so happy they are now comfortable with that term. It's so sweet.
And this is quite a big step.
And I'm mentally ill, so I can't.
No, that's not what I said.
That's what you're thinking. So you're always thinking. I'm going to Charlie com.
I know I am harsh on his mom. I know. But this is not okay. this is not what she's saying. He's young. He's only 16. Of course, she's not going to be randomly okay with him staying over at Nick's house when she told him like 4 months ago, 5 months ago, that she thought he was too young for sex. Like, come on, Charlie.
What's through SAMHSA over, Charlie?
I'm not a child. If I want to see my boyfriend, then I will. You can't stop me.
Charlie!
Oh my god, Charlie. That is not the reaction. If you want to prove to someone that you are old enough to make a decision, don't overreact. Like, she was, honestly, it feels like she was being attacked. And this is not how this should have been handled. It was so painful to watch.
I love making these little videos to show the people I love. So, I made you one.
Okay, so he didn't create her in an interview, it sounds like, but he did make her a movie, and I love them together. I can't tell from those tears how she's reacting, but I feel like that was the perfect song for how she's feeling. She needed to be reminded that people still find her beautiful, because she was treated like something less than in the last episode, and it's made her question her identity, it's made her question her worth, and this movie was honestly the best thing Tao could have done for her, because it's how Tao communicates. It's how he tells people he cares.
Nick? I need a distraction.
I am used to Charlie's daydreams, and we've gotten a few of Nick's in the last episode or so. Oh my god.
Nick, please don't leave me behind.
Back to Nick's anxiety. He's scared to leave Charlie behind because he's scared if he goes away to college, Charlie's going to relapse, and that is not fair to either of them.
Can't do fun things and be a teenager. I'm not fragile. And I want to have sex with you. What's wrong with that?
I understand where both Charlie and his mom is coming from. Charlie's mom in the first 2 seasons was very controlling, very much, you do as I say when I say it, and if you don't, you're in trouble. And like, she wasn't ever abusive, but she was very strict. And then once he went to seek help, she started handling him with kid gloves, so he's frustrated and he feels cramped. But that's not what she was doing. At least that's not how I took the last scene. I know at the end she said you've been sick a while, and that's where she screwed up, because she really was being reasonable. She's like, we'll talk about it after your exams sometime in the future. He expected an answer right there. That's no, sir.
But when we're not around, because I was repressing so much myself before then, not just my sexuality, but my thoughts and feelings, my personality. I still hide behind that mask sometimes.
I am so glad Nick's bringing this back up, because we got that in season 1 when he first came out to Charlie as being possibly queer. He said, do you feel like you're ever hiding a part of yourself? And I can't remember if he said that to Charlie or his mom, but he knew that he was lying to himself about who he was so he could fit in. And he was so scared of letting people see who he really was that he became this like hollow version of himself, and he has lived with that, and he's trying to discover himself finally at nearly 18 years old. And he's struggling. He only feels like he can be his real self around Charlie because that's the only person he's ever been himself around. So I'm glad we're touching on this again because it's such a true experience for so many people.
Basically, I'm just freaking out.
This time of life is so scary for so many people. When you reach the point of leaving school and going to college, it is a terrifying prospect for so many people who are just figuring out who they are, especially for young queer folks who have repressed so much of their own personality for so long. It's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying, and I'm glad they're showing that and not just brushing over it like so many shows do. I'm not entirely sure the recommended therapy for anxiety and struggling with your parents and your identity is to get laid. I could be wrong, but I'm not entirely sure that that is the recommended therapy by mental health professionals. I will say that honesty right there is so important. The ability to check in with your partner and be like, hey, is this okay? Is this still what you want? That was very well done because so many people don't do that and don't check in with their partners, and it leads to a very unhealthy relationship between their partner and with sex alone. So I'm glad they showed that. Okay, so that was episode 7 of Heartstopper. I really liked that we got to see Tao and Elle deal with the fallout of the interview that could have been. I'm glad that we got to see Darcy embracing their identity and coming out as non-binary to Darcy, coming out as non-binary to Tara, and their relationship is so sweet, and it's one of my favorites in the show. I honestly love all 3 of the teenager relationships, but Mr. Farouk and Ajay are my favorite, and I don't know why. But speaking of, the young Mr. Farouk broke my heart, and it was a really nice add-in for Charlie to. Well, Charlie didn't even see it, but it was a really nice add-in for the fans to see when he said younger kids would love to see someone like Charlie as head boy. And I'm loving the snippets of Michael we're getting. I know he's a new character for a lot of people, but I really enjoyed his character in the book. He's a little bit unstable at first, but he's a fun character. And I really like that we got to see inside Nick's head, because season 1 and 2 we got to see mostly from Charlie's point of view. We got a little bit of Nick, but when it came to the anxiety and the depression, that all came from Charlie. And now we're starting to see just how, I don't want to call him fragile. He called himself fragile, but we get to see how much Nick is struggling, and I really like that. So I hope next episode touches on that a little bit more, and we get to see these characters before, because I think Nick will be in college next season if we get a season 4, so we get to see how they all cope with that. So thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you at the next reaction.